Brian, what are we here to talk about?
Today,
Well, first off, actually, we're back here with another episode of Tea Time, right? We don't ever do that. We don't ever introduce ourselves. I feel like,
it has a name.
It does have a name for the people who are listening, but maybe there's new listeners every week. So this is another episode of Tea Time, the ThriftCon podcast. I'm Mars. This is Ken, and that's Brian. That's all you guys need to know. Okay, Brian, what are we talking about?
Today, we're just going to recap Houston. We're going to put it all behind us, finally.
Yep.
It's a week, less than a week after. So we still got things to say, things to do.
5 days after. So it is fresh, still in our minds. It's not like it's several months after and we're doing a Houston recap. It's fresh, so we'll be able to talk about it through a solid lens. Ken, just right off the bat, I'd like to get everyone's scale of 1 to 10 overall rating of how the Houston event went.
I think it was an 8.
A solid 8. Brian?
See, my frame of reference is such that this was my second full show event, essentially. First time kind of taking the reins of the vendors.
I was going to say, definitely we're in a bigger role this time.
8.5, 9. I mean, it went smooth. Everybody was safe. Everybody was happy. Everybody was fed. Yeah, you can't ask for better than that.
It's true. I think, Brian, you personally, 10 out of 10, crushed it. Let me just say that off the bat. You did. We'll golf clap for Brian.
I like those claps.
Absolutely crushed it. I was going to go, I had 8.2 in my head. I had a point. That was, I think, like around my overall was 8.2.
We're all in the same range.
Yeah, it was solid, man. It was a very good event.
And for context, I wouldn't give like Atlanta or Denver a 10 because we screwed some shit up.
Yeah.
I'd put Atlanta or Denver at like 8.5s.
Yeah, honestly, like Houston operationally better than Atlanta and Denver. Mm-hmm. Those had maybe a little bit higher attendance, but Houston had more vendors. Biggest and cleanest and coolest venue, most recognizable venue name. There's a lot of, pros and cons for both, for sure. And I think there's a lot of reasons there. Houston is better than Atlanta and Denver, and a lot of reasons that Atlanta and Denver are better.
I don't know, dude. National Western Stock Show? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. There's a lot of people in Denver that's like, yeah, it's the National Western Complex, and then they just like give you that blank stare, like look through you.
Stock Show.
And you're like,
don't
yeah,
know.
Cows.
Over by Coliseum, yeah.
Horses. It's funny how many venues, because there's a big, huge rodeo at the NRG Center, and they leave their rodeo signs and stuff, and I'm like, we just can't escape a fucking rodeo, man.
There's like iron sculptures of cows outside and on the facade of the building
with no feet.
that was in Houston.
No feet.
Yeah, very unsettling.
Hoofless.
Give those cows feet.
Right. Let's go throw sneakers on them.
Okay, so yeah, let's get right into it. I'd say the first thing we need to talk about is just the vendor drop. The first kind of like thing that happened with Houston is, we announced, everyone was stoked that the flyer went off and got a lot of love from that. And then about a week or two later, we did the vendor release. Ken, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so the original plan in Houston was like, if you guys were there, it was like an L shape. So we were just going to take the tall section and not this side of the L, and we were going to sell that many booths and just do it like that because A, it's a little cheaper. B, last year we had, a lot of vendors, probably our biggest of last year, and we noticed that the attendee vendor ratio could probably be tweaked a little bit. So we were going to make it a smaller vendor-wise show, but when we announced the Patreon booths and those started moving, I mean, we sold more than we should have on some of the booths, and basically we're like pinned into now we have to take the L, and now we're going to have not really take the L, but take the L shape.
Right.
And then now we were looking at, we have a whole shitload of vendors. But the reason behind that was because on the one side, we did oversell like 15 by 15s or something like that, or 20 by 20s, or one of those 15s. bigger-ish ones. We sold too many, and there was no way to like squeeze them in. And then if we were going to stick to that, the public drop would have been like 8 booths or something like that, which
Yeah.
is like not good.
It was nuts. So
that's
yeah,
not-
That's
the
not
Patreon,
even
like-
that's not a drop. Like
the Patreon booths really went off. I mean, over 100 sold through Patreon. And so then we had to, like Ken said, we had to shift a little bit, but this all happened because the Patreon sale only goes live 24 hours before we do the actual general release. So it got like a little bit stressful in there because we had no idea what exactly, should we take this other part of the room? We were trying to get in touch with the venue and no one was getting back. So like we
Right.
didn't know if we were really like allowed to take this other part of the room and start selling all these other booths. But we figured it would be okay.
So we just did it
So we
anyway.
just did it. Yeah, we're just like, let's just sell. So the next day, we just went live, added like, 30, 40 more booths over
Yeah.
on that side, which was great. It gave a whole bunch of other people a chance to vend. Like there really would have been a lot of people left out of the room had we not done that. And I know it made it a lot larger in terms of, size of the room, how overwhelming it was to shop, just the amount of vendors that were there. But it really did get just so many more people in the room and a chance to vend, a chance to make some money that day, just be a part of the event. So for us, it was the right call for sure. And so that being said, too, the Patreon, the Patreon is still getting people pouring in there. Like we've still gotten even a few more members now in anticipation of they think we're about to announce Philly. And so saying it here first, we haven't even fully decided the number or what it will be, but we're going to have to add a higher tier for the Patreon at a higher price and make that the barrier for entry, or that's going to be the tier that you have to be, a part of to get early access to these vendor drops. Because right now it's $10. And that's just, not like we didn't think it was too cheap, but there's just too many people now doing it. There's almost, there's over 100 people in there, sold over 100 booths at that last time. And so we got to raise the price. So it's just a little bit more of those actual people who are seriously want to be there, whether it's 25 or 50. And they're like, that's okay. I can spend an extra $50 because I know what I'm about to make going there. Right. So we don't know what that price is. We don't know what it's going to look like. And I don't know if maybe 5% of you guys that are even on the Patreon would hear this right now.
As far as like the promotion, so we sold the booths, and then right around the same time we start the booths online is when we're starting to actually advertise the event, and we advertise all over the place. TikTok was working for us for Atlanta and Denver really well, like getting pretty good return. And that looked like a really good option. And then immediately we started advertising for Houston and just saw no return. Like we were losing money on every single dollar that we spent through TikTok, which was pissing me off. And then Facebook has Facebook and Instagram. They don't actually go to Facebook, but the ads on Instagram. Those were also pissing me off because I had the strategy that was implemented for Atlanta and Denver didn't, like I could tell, you can tell in like a matter of 2-3 days if it's working or not. And that strategy wasn't working. So for the next 5 weeks, it was a matter of adjusting the strategy, but not too much to where, Facebook gets confused or you send it back into what's called like the learning phase. There's all this shit. The ads did not do well for pretty much the entire time we were advertising until like the last week. Like the last week or the last 3 days really is when we sold more proportionally in the last 3 days than we ever have, probably about 80% of the tickets, which is kind of crazy. Maybe not 80, maybe half.
I think we're right around like 60.
60. So that's
Yeah.
a lot. That's like kind of scary too, because you're just like, we can't.
Yeah, I mean, we were I had to stop looking at the tickets. I had to stop pulling up Eventbrite around Wednesday or Thursday. I just stopped because it just wasn't doing what it normally did. It wasn't doing what it had done just months before for Denver and Atlanta.
Yeah.
And we're stressing ourselves out. You know, like we look at that shit way too much. It's terrible.
They change what's going on in the algorithm or like how the ads are being delivered and not the way you set it up. The way you set it up has been the same for the last like 5 years, but they change what's going on after you set it up and how it thinks it's figuring out the best price to send an ad and deliver and get a click and get a sale. They change that like every 2 weeks. So it was, I guess, what we had fit in their little bubble for a while and then just didn't fit in the way they had tweaked it for this. But it still worked because we were sending the ads out to crazy amounts of people. Like crazy amounts of people saw it. And that's why we saw so many walk-ups and that's why we saw so much happening at the end. And like from a marketing perspective, you can't see that as a sale attributed to the ads because it just got implanted in their brain and then they typed it in and you can't track that if they're typing it in. And that's maybe just like opening up the kitchen too much, like how that marketing shit works, but you can't track that. So all the way through the ads did bad, but we sold the amount of tickets that we should have by the end. It's just like the word got out and people like physically typed it in. At that point, you can't track that stuff. Yeah. So you're just hoping that they remember the word ThriftCon and type it in, and then hope that the banners and the call to actions and all that on the pages are enough just to get people to see where they should buy it.
The just like the social pressure as well. You know?
Yeah.
Like hopefully we've created enough buzz around this like cool community in whatever city that we're in where one of their friends, at least one of their friends is like talking about it, going to it, whatever. Like hopefully achieve that in some way.
But there will never not be an event where I'm not pissed off at Facebook ads or Google ads or TikTok ads or Twitter ads or haven't done any Pinterest ads, but I'm looking at it. Like there will never not be an event where I'm not like, this is pissing me off. But that's my job, so... I think at the end of the day, we got the right amount of tickets. It was into the 6,000s, close to the 7,000s, not over 7,000. And like that might be like, you know, that's obviously not how big Denver or Houston or Atlanta were. But like, as far as, let's be honest, guys, like, is there another market anywhere that's going to bring you that many people?
7,000 people. To shop too, like people were shopping.
Vendors
I know there's some people that it's every time some vendors who didn't do as good as they might have thought, or like, oh, it was a little bit slower this time, but it's just variables, man. Like you have different shit every time. There's different people in the room. You might not have had what they were specifically looking for. Yeah. Because I also heard from vendors who were like, who
changed my life.
Yeah, who like you did. You know, you literally you made it sure that we are good for the rest of the year now. People that did the survey, several people marked that they made over $5,000 in that room that day.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
a good day,
up,
man. That's fucked up. That's a lot of money.
That's more than most stores make.
Not fucked up in a bad way. That's fucked up in a good way.
Yeah.
That's way more than stores make in the mall, bro. Yeah. That's like a really.
I mean, like during busy season.
Really busy restaurant on a Friday makes that.
Yeah, man. That's fucking.
You're right. It all comes down to variables too. I mean, you just never know. And when you're driving there and you're spending $100 to fill up your tank, you're not gonna go get a $150 T-shirt. Yeah. You're just not. Yeah. You already spent it. You can't.
It would also be. I'd also like little hidden cameras like in each booth. That's like, okay, person who said it wasn't that busy. Did you talk to anybody? Were you sitting down the whole time? Were you looking at your phone? Like,
and just what your booth looked like? Is it impressive at all? Does it make people want to walk in? Is it, does it look different from the other 150 booths that are on the floor?
Is your radio scaring people away?
It's going to be tough, man. Yeah, that too. It's going to be tough. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Brian, what was your week of event like? The week of, what was that like for you? Because being in this new role.
It's funny because I have a lot of friends that have done major festivals, and I've talked to them, at length about this kind of thing. And they say that the busiest you are is just several weeks before. And it's almost weird that week of, because everything that should be taken care of, if it's taken care of, it's taken care of. And it's just kind of dead. Yeah. Like those 2 days leading up there, there's no emails coming through. Nothing's coming down the wire, which is good because that means you put out all the fires. But then day of, or at load in, it'll start with load in. It gets a little more nerve wracking, but
Load in
internally,
our load in, vendor load in.
well, both, I guess. Ours is pretty chill. We know what we're doing. We've got a good team that
I think just that little bit that you said means that you're doing the job the right way, because you shouldn't be busy. You shouldn't really have to do much of anything the 2 days before, realistically, because like you said, like everything is done. If we are stressed on like LA, I guess. Well, even LA was like, it was just stuff that happened. But if there's problems that are still existing on the 3 days, 4 days before, even the week before, you kind of screwed up. Like there shouldn't be any problems. Everything should have been done, and there was 6 weeks to make sure that they were not done. That they were done. So, I think that is the point. Like, you did it right if you weren't busy the week before.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. Now, but so I saw all the posts and the stories from the Fan Expo in Denver, and they really crushed it. Obviously, they have to have a large fucking budget, because boy, did they fill up a crazy space. Like, we should have went to that as a team for Inspo. Olivia said that, and I'm like, damn, you're right. So we'll definitely do that the next time. But they had panel discussions. They had fucking little games and experiences. Whatnot had a stupid crazy booth there. It looked crazy, man. It was nuts. There was a lot of stuff going on there. Definitely more trade showy, It gets into that Comic-Con thing. All the booths have like walls, lots of pipe and drape.
It's Comic-Con under a different name, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's Comic-Con's not giving their name out anymore.
Right. Yeah, so we need to. I feel like got to find that happy medium of that. We don't want to hit the whole pipe and drape thing and like that whole. Yeah. But like got to somewhere in between.
This is a whole.
They're doing that shit.
Big business though. That this is what they do year round.
I know.
Though, so it's hard for us to kind of jump into that. But we'll get there. I mean, we're at the point now where we're looking for people. We're looking for things. We're looking for experiences. We're not so much tied down to like how are we going to get these walls over there? Like how are we going to tip the crates up?
I am just so hungry to do that. So I will forever be throwing that out into the universe. And
maybe we have a carny on our Instagram that's like, hey, I've got the booths. I'll come with you. Just tell me when and where, and I'll bring my family.
The first San Diego Comic-Con was in March of 1970. So that industry has had 50 years to like
50-year
get
head
the
start,
money moving. Like, not saying that we're the first market that ever happened, but like as far as ThriftCon, like what we're trying to make and what people are trying to make because of us, and I mean that. I'm not going to take back that. What people are trying to do because of what we're doing. We've only been doing this for like 3 years, so there you go. They got a head start.
Yeah.
It won't take us
by decades. I hope it doesn't take us 50 years.
It won't take us 50.
Mars and I got into Houston on Thursday. Didn't have to do much. We went bowling. I'm a phenomenal bowler, by the way, everybody. Incredible.
Since like a week ago.
Yeah.
I've been bowling with him
talent.
many times before. This is not the first time Ken and I have been bowling together. We go bowling together quite often. Anytime we're in a city, don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
We go bowling. We go bowling here. And never in my life have I seen this man
break the twos.
It's insane.
It's all in the thumbs. But truth be told, I lost 3 out of 4 games and bowled a 200. But what we're really taking home and what I want to be known is that I bowled a 200. And for you schmohawks that don't know what that means I'm incredible. That means I only missed one pin.
He missed one pin the whole time. Every frame was either a spare or a strike, except for one, and that frame was a 9. So
yeah, and all the spares were 9s too.
Well, around, not all
9
of them.
or 8.
Not all
it
of
was
them.
close though. It was up there. It wasn't any 5s.
Not because it was a 202. There wasn't any 5s, but I feel like there was a 7 or 8 thrown in there for sure.
Most likely, yeah. I mean, I'm not,
Because if it was all 9s
pro
and
yet.
stuff, all 9s is higher than 202. All 9s is that's up around like the 250.
Well, what do you know?
Yeah.
And then on Monday, I got really close, and Derek fucked me up. He rolled the ball down and took one of my spins away, but it's fine. It's all good.
He rolled the ball to hit a ball, So
Yeah,
both
so there was a
balls.
ball stuck in the gutter, and everyone's like, "Dirk, get it out!" And he did it, and he felt so fucking cool because it worked. And then
It
it
looked great.
fucked Ken. Ken again had
was
a
on
game
my-
going where he had one pin that he had missed, and it was on the 10th frame where he's balling out. He's up. He's already up at
Coulda
like
got his
170s, throwing up there, showing up there and shit. And yeah, 3 frames to really. To end it nice and end the
it
whole
nice
trip,
and
and after
clean,
2
yeah.
good days of bowling, and he just took that away from him.
He stole it from me.
Stole it.
Fucking Rick Muffin, dude.
I
What a
asked
fucking bastard.
I asked him for retribution. I still have yet to see it, but he did buy me a shirt at the pre-party, so he's all good.
We all had great bowling names. We'll get to that later. We're still in the event now.
Oh,
The event
anyway.
hasn't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Anyway,
hasn't even happened.
yeah.
Hasn't
So
happened.
Mars and I are there on Thursday. We eat nice food and we bowl, and it was fun.
We went
And
to what's the
then-
place called? Loro. It's there's a few of them. It's in Austin. It's in a couple places in Texas. One in Houston's tight though. It's in an old ass church.
Yeah, the old church.
And it's a good concept. Huge.
Really good food, affordable. It was dope.
The dudes who do that own a couple other restaurants that you would know if I but I can't remember who it is.
Yeah, no complaints on that spot. And then one of the girls that was like the bartender for us, I was kind of talking to her, and she seemed like cool and kind of in our realm. And I was like, "What are you doing Sunday?" And I was like, "Do you work Sunday?" And she's like, "No, I actually don't work this Sunday." I was like, "Well, we're throwing this event, da da da." She was like, "Wait, you guys are? Because that's the reason I'm not working on Sunday is to go." She was like, "I'm gonna get my tickets tonight or tomorrow." And then I gave her a free ticket link, which doesn't exist. But I gave her a free ticket link, and she bought the tickets right then, and then she like gave us a couple extra drinks, so we left that place a little bit tippy, and then bowled, and that was fun. And then on Friday, nothing really too much happened. The staff showed up. We had to pick up some stuff from like printers and stuff. Got some groceries.
Oh, I got a haircut.
Oh yeah.
Before we picked
Mars-
the staff up, we went to this. So while we were kind of having those free drinks and at Loro on Thursday, just figuring out things we could do on Friday and just like fun shit to do in Houston and film for this YouTube recap. So I looked up Houston Barber on Instagram and clicked the first guy. It was at Sig Crisp, and he has like grip of followers, cuts a bunch like. Definitely dudes not looking like me, cuts all, like pretty much all Hispanic and like Latin dudes' hairs, and he does like designs in them. Really fire, really talented. And so then we DM him and send him this ridiculous picture, which we'll put up.
Yeah.
And then say like, oh, could you do something like this? And he's plays along, great sport. So he invited us through the next day, and I didn't get that, but I got the Whataburger logo
It's
in my.
still in there.
Is it?
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
see it. So
It's still there. There's other pictures too. There's other pictures. Everybody there was in what's it called? They were happy. What's a good way to say that? Never mind.
Just a high energy,
Yeah.
good vibe.
No, it was a good vibe, and
Yeah.
Crisanti was there, so we got to catch up with him before like everything really started rolling. And then we went right to pick up the van, then went right to pick up everybody else. Back home, got some food, bought way too much food. It was funny. Well, it wasn't that bad, but I like to be the guy who says that it's too much food because that's kind of in character for me. But
I would say once we got there, Lee had an appointment in 10 minutes when we found parking. We found parking at the wrong spot. We ended up walking up to like the back door. So then we had to run, and then everybody's just like, okay, 1, 2, 3, go. And we all grabbed the same thing, basically.
Yeah, people were buying sweet peppers because like that's something
People-
you would snack
Derek
on
bought those,
casually.
yeah.
A whole English cucumber. It was strange, but I think most of it did get eaten.
It did get eaten, yeah.
Did get eaten. So, but everybody was well fed, well hydrated for the most part. So that's good because sometimes we've slipped up on that, just like snacks and stuff. We'd be burning a lot of calories. So people got to eat, especially like us young men. They need a lot of calories, more
It's true, we're
more
growing.
than you think.
yeah. So then this is still
At the
Friday,
house,
right?
at the house, we did the a newfangled intro for the Thank You for Thrifting recap, which was super fun. That was probably the only time where I was like actually like fired up about going to get stuff because that's generally not my role, but I thought that could be super funny. So We got some really good shots. You'll see it, but it's like a popular 90s sitcom spoof.
I feel like a lot of people were staring at us in the park.
Oh,
when
yeah.
we were doing the run through.
Oh yeah, we did this run through the park, and Mars was on Lee's shoulders. He fell off. He broke his hip. Sonia pushed me into a pile of dead grass. I still got stickers in my ear. But all the content that we got there was dope and super fun, and everyone was still in really high spirits. Then we got prepared for the pre-party, and I thought that one went really well. The space looked incredible. The owner himself was very likable and just generally interesting. We got a good interview with him. Food was actually smacking. Sometimes food can be a bit of a worry. The beers that they got were good and not just like, we love Modelo's over here, obviously. It's Modelo time all the time, but the beers were delicious. Food was delicious. His stuff was affordable. Everybody was buying stuff. He had a great night of sales. That went really well. The only problem is that it's so goddamn hot, and then you like want to take a mental break from the store. So you go outside, and then you're like, well, now my mental is all about how am I going to survive out here? Do I need to like start making an A-frame shelter to like keep me cool or something? It's dangerous out there. But that was the only thing where I was like, God damn, Houston, man, I can't be inside because I'm cold and I'm overwhelmed by how much I want to buy. If I go outside, I'm just hot drinking warm beer. But as far as like pre-parties go, I love the one that we do with Good Times. Shout out Anthony. But that was tied almost. Like that was fun.
Yeah, I think that one rivaled it for sure. That one was solid.
There's a lot more vendors that came through this one, I feel like, too. Sometimes it's hard to get them there a couple days before, but it was a good crowd.
So the store itself was called Roundhouse. They actually vended. They had a 15 by 15 up near the front in the bottom of the L, the leg of the L. The food truck was called Boo's Burgers, and I think Boo himself was like partial co-owner of some of the stuff that was going on, like was involved in the store a little bit. I thought he said something like that in the interview.
No, the other guy is the Tipping Point dude who owns the coffee shop.
Okay. And then what's Eureka Heights? Is that the beer? Eureka Heights was the beer, which was really good. So check out all three of those small, pop-in, cool businesses down in Houston. It's fun to support that type of stuff and not just buy Modelo or whatever because it's, or get some chain to cater it or something like that because that's not really the idea of the whole concept is to pretty much not do that. So we executed on that. More so Roundhouse executed on that.
I feel like Boo's Burgers is like just starting out too, right? Wasn't that?
It's fairly new for sure.
Those were good burgers. I don't do doubles. I don't do doubles, but my single was good. Everybody else got a double. What do you think about?
I got a double. It was big.
Doubles scare me, man. Too much meat. There was a triple in a picture that Mars was passing around. Was that a triple or a quadruple?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a half of a cow.
That's spooky,
that's a lot
man.
of that's
Saturday was solid too. Like Brian said earlier, load-in was pretty easy this time. We got there a little later because we were filming. We went and filmed at the Vintage Packs warehouse before. Shout out to Vintage Packs. Their warehouse is tight as fuck. That's a crazy operation they got going there. They
just mountains of clothes.
Yeah, I mean,
mountains. Good clothes too. You like everything that you picked and went through.
It's a little bit more organized than I thought it might be too. Like they have an operation.
They have actual shelves and signs of where things go. Sometimes you go to those places and you could lose a cat if you're not careful.
But no AC.
No AC.
But no AC.
The fan was about 5 feet around. And you just had to like stand in front of it.
AC should be it should be mandatory, mandated
paid.
by law and
Yeah.
subsidized.
Crazy.
It's crazy. You can't even.
And they were in there working hard.
You just
the day
can't.
before.
I don't get that. I don't get that. But I guess it costs a lot. Like the power to power that AC.
Yeah.
24 hours a day. Like when we leave here, we turn our AC off in the office. You can't do that in Houston. You can't do it.
No.
You'll have boiling.
Overnight.
You'll have boiling water. All your food in your fridge will be spoiled. It's crazy.
Then after load-in, went back to the house, showered up quick, and then we went to Ninfa's for dinner, the original one over off Navigation. And shout out to them. They had the one of the chefs come out and talk to us. Chef Alex, he's super nice. Sent over a couple dishes to us. Like he does this Astro Dog that was fire. They sent out a few of those. We just got fajitas for the whole table. And then they gave us the shots after too, or we paid for them. They didn't give them to us, but he offered them. The Mexican candy.
I was
That shit was
wishing
fire.
when he proposed the idea, it seemed like they would be free, but I didn't actually see the bill because they do it all on the tablet thing, which is annoying because I'm like, let me see the bill. Like, what'd you put on there?
Yeah,
Why?
what's on there?
What is this amount? How did we reach this number?
Yeah.
But anyway, those shots were bomb. The Mexican candy shots.
yeah.
The chef was super well traveled, well trained. He said he trained in Europe and he trained in California.
You say he did Italian food in Europe for a while, and that was what he was doing.
I guess
Yeah.
his mom, when he was a kid, worked at Nympha's for a little bit, and he was like, came full circle and was just running the kitchen there. So
Yeah.
cool guy, very cool guy. Hopefully the audio and everything on that turned out well. I don't think we've had a chance to look at it, but we had a good talk with him. I liked him. He was cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Nympha's is
And
bomb.
that steak was my favorite by far.
Yeah,
of any steak.
Yeah,
I've
they
ever
do
had, yeah.
fajitas different than most people. Like they give you like a real ass steak. Like
Yeah.
it's like a steak that they're putting on that shit. So good. And the thing about Nympha's, for those of you who don't know, is the original Nympha's, Grandma Nympha, she invented or brought the fajita to America, or was the first person to call it that. They claim that they created the fajita, and that's why we went, because it's kind of like a fun, interesting little story. It's kind of like going to the person who invented the hot dog or some shit. Which
Yeah,
you
I
know.
believe it. They can say whatever they want.
Yeah, it was good.
I believe it.
The place is fire. Day of show, Brian, take us through. What's loading like?
Load in for people who don't load in and just show up when their ticket says to show up. It starts early. We were there at 4:25, probably one of the earliest times we've been there. But people are getting there at that time. There was already vendors waiting for us to open the doors. So it is an early, chaotic time to get there.
When did you go to
And,
bed the night before after Ninfa's?
It wasn't too late. I mean, we all have to have lights out. You're always just kind of sitting there staring at the ceiling, though, like just in anticipation of the day. And you fall asleep and think you slept through your alarm or something. You pop up and your heart starts racing.
Do you
so
sweat?
You don't get a whole lot of.
Did you sweat the night before?
No, there was. I mean, the AC was cruising. I had a little fan on above me, so it's not.
It's not a matter of your body actually being hot. It's a matter of your body
the
going
metaphorical.
through. No, it's a matter of your body going through issues, physiological issues. I sweat every night before the show. I like it's almost like I pissed the bed, but I was sweating. Didn't matter how cold we had it in there. I would have been sweating. But I just wanted to see if you were a sweat guy or not.
No, I mean, it's just that like nervous energy. You just want to get there and get it done, and your body's just telling you you shouldn't sleep and you should sleep and whatever. You sleep the
Yeah.
week after. But yeah, once it's there, it's like it's very chaotic. There's 200 people bringing in I don't know how many tons of clothes and setting not even just tents anymore. They're setting up full installations and bringing things in and yeah, I'm sorry that the 8 of us there couldn't help each and every one, but it's difficult.
I tried
Ken
so
did the work
hard.
of maybe 10 people.
Yeah, I tried so hard to be like available for the time that I could during load in, and I sweat so much. I sweat through my shorts, through my underwear, through the shirts that I was wearing. I hung them up in the office. They never dried out.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
But I sweat so much. It was already 90 degrees at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So that is Houston only that I would ever sweat like that. But man, I was beat
was
up
rough,
for
yeah.
loading. Yeah. I loaded in a couple whole cars by myself because it was like
van was
couple
packed,
it was like a couple girls that I'm like, y'all are not gonna do this fast enough. Let me just show you how this is done. I don't care if it's dragging. Sorry.
Yeah. But it went as smooth as possible. I feel like it was couldn't ask for anything better. Some people were pissed, some people weren't. That's just the name of the game.
Once we started the tickets coming in, like once the show was open, it was really great. We had a line for 9 a.m. and a line for 10 a.m. So that traffic jam was fixed. And then we had purposeful lanes to really move people in. So we scanned in 3,000 tickets. You can see it on the Eventbrite app, but we scanned in 3,000 tickets in a matter of an hour, which is crazy because that would usually create, like, that's why the lines exist and go for so long in some of these cities, because the doors just don't have enough room to set it up like that or whatever, or we didn't invest in the people to scan tickets. But this time around, we hired an outside staff in Houston to come and scan and stamp the tickets, so that got everybody in super fast. So
that line moved.
And I think that encourages people to want to stay there longer, because they might only have a free 3 hours or whatever, and if they spend half an hour or 45 minutes in the line, that cuts down how much time they can actually be in there. So it's good to get as many people in as fast as we can, and that's something that we're always thinking of, and I think we kind of not nailed it maybe, but did a lot better, which is good. We're just looking for little improvements on how did everybody feel when they were getting in. Generally, we did the survey. There was no waits. Nobody waited.
Right, yeah.
It was good. So that ticketing, staffing, the 3 different points to sell tickets, it all went really well. And those were all new things. So that whole entryway setup is kind of going to be the model for future shows, and I think that's a good thing, because it hit and it did everything the way it was supposed to.
Let's do highlights, lowlights. Highlight, the jiu-jitsu girl.
Yeah, little Sophia. So
That was her name?
it was 5 days before the event, we get several DMs, several emails. This girl's hustling. She asked to put a table at the event because she's raising money. She got invited to the nation's largest jiu-jitsu event for little kids. I guess it's the largest for the littles, however that translates. But she's got photos of her first, second place. She's a monster. And why not? Just set up a table. Come on in. We'll sponsor you. Our first sponsored athlete is a 13-year-old jiu-jitsu champion.
So it was all profit for her? Did we charge her for a booth, or she just pulled up? Hell
That's
cool.
But actually, what worked out was we had one vendor drop out that morning, so she actually got to just sneak into a 10x10 rather than be stuck against a wall or something. So it worked out for her.
That's
yeah,
great.
And she was so happy. It's one of those things, she came and hugged us at the end and said how thankful she was. She's crying on her Instagram. And that made me happy while I was getting yelled at by other vendors. I just kind of said, all right, fuck you. I just helped this little girl be a champion. So
The
whatever.
real deal Karate Kid lives her
But
dreams
yeah, she's a
out
sweetheart.
at
I got my
ThriftCon.
wife. I got my kids some stuff. She had to have killed it. I mean, she had to have walked out of there with several $100s to get her to Florida. So
For sure.
that's what we do. ThriftCon's for the kids.
Yeah. Low light, the sandwiches that we had for lunch were trash. They
Hella
were
soggy.
So
I ordered. They sounded really good on Easy Cater. They sounded great, and then only one of them was actually decent. The one with the chicken and prosciutto and Dijon, that shit was pretty fucking.
And the
good.
one was supposed to be vegetarian.
Yeah, it was
and
supposed to be
had
vegetarian, and it was
on
tuna, and it was so fucking disgusting. Dude.
Yeah,
It was
that's
so
not-
disgusting.
You don't want
not
that
vegetarian.
in a small office either.
It's just they were so soggy on this multi-grain bread. It was
it's terrible.
fucked up.
But
They
you
were
eat
so
it because
gross.
you
I-
have to do
I guess
something.
I didn't eat any of that shit.
I guess
ate
I
one of
didn't-
the okay ones.
I guess I didn't get one of
the.
the chicken ones because I didn't even. I saw turkey
It was a
and
completely different
tuna.
bread. It was a completely different bread, and that's why it was all right because that bread didn't get soggy and it didn't have anything on it that would get soggy. But shit was fucked up, bro. It was gross.
That's okay.
I don't even know
I packed a
the
lot
sandwich
more.
name, the place that made it. I won't say it because I bet it's all right if you just go to their place and
Right,
get it.
yeah.
But it wasn't all right.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Another low light for me in my brain was vendors bringing in their own music. We're gonna officially make that not a thing anymore. Sorry, you guys, but it's annoying as hell. Just picture a child or someone who's not super familiar with what's about to happen, and they walk in there and they just get smacked with 3 different songs at once.
Right.
And then they're like, why is this shirt 1,000 and this one's 5? I don't get it. I don't get any of this.
Yeah.
Why is it so loud? I want to leave. So yeah, we curate good music, and it's objectively good. It's got every single genre on there. So there's no real reason for you to be playing Mos Def at the loudest volume.
Even
your
when it's done
Bluetooth speaker
right,
can
like
go.
Vintage Packs did it right. Even when it's done right, it's still disorienting. But
It
when you
is.
have like a sound boom tube or whatever, like under a pile of clothes, and you're playing, yeah, like Grateful Dead versus Mos Def or something, it just
Yeah.
doesn't. It's not good. It's
So
just not.
yeah, sorry everyone, but we're not going to let that happen anymore. And you already know it's annoying. I don't know how you don't realize that it's annoying, but it is, and it's annoying for everyone. So that's gone. You know, R.I.P. your music. Sorry, it wasn't that great anyway, guys. I just got to be honest. So
Another highlight for me was the Grail Burglar. That was just fun to do. Goofy as shit, putting on the costume and just walking on the floor for a while and fucking with people. So that was a highlight. I know that means nothing on the podcast right now because we haven't put that video out, so it doesn't. It's weird to say that, but I don't want to even really say what it was until we put it out. But yeah, so that was a highlight for me for sure.
look out for the Grail Burglar. He's a menace.
If you saw somebody that looked like Grimace running around, we have a plan. There's a plan. There's a whole thing happening.
We should take some time to shout out the best booths. The best in my book was Vintage Packs. Obviously, they know what they're doing. They have a whole strategy. They've really thought it through. They got the room. They're talking to us. You know, we're in on it with them. So they had a phenomenal booth. That was probably the best one that I saw. I think our booth looked really good. A lot of times we have a table on there just for like actual selling and retail purposes, but we got that out of the way so people could actually look at our booth and engage with it the way it's designed to be engaged with.
Yeah, I still don't think it is happening the way it's designed to be. I think that's on my list for Philly and Vegas is to like redesign that, just that middle of the booth, because right now no one walks around to look at the things. Like they've never because where Sonia and Lee stand, it's like the checkout area. So it's like they don't walk around and like actually look at the shirts, or no one's taking in photos in front of those facts, which is also like still valid. So I think there's still a way to even more so improve that. And like I was even thinking about like getting a floating checkout area, because like we always have so much room around our booth. Yeah. So like then the checkout area is off to the side near where that behind backstock is. Mm-hmm. So like you shop on the booth and then you'd like come off, and then it's like a lot easier for them to just like they have eyes on the backstock and eyes on the floor like at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think there's still some work to be done with that. There's always work to be done, but it did look a lot better, and Sonia and Lee kill it every fucking time with that. Merch sales do great. They do great.
People like the shirts, yeah.
Or Dele. We can't forget about Dele. He just had something going on, but Dele's not gone.
No. This is true.
What other booths did you guys like?
I think there's something to be said for, I think it's JP Charms.
JP,
yeah. They came in super, super late. They were in the back corner selling the accessories for Crocs and Squishmallows and N64 stuff. I mean, just no t-shirts to be found. Every single time I walked by that booth, they were absolutely slammed. They probably sold 50,000 of those little giblet things, you know, and like, so it's not so much the traffic necessarily. I know a lot of people will say, well, I'm facing a wall, whatever the case may be. They literally had something nobody else had, and they were able to attract people in that way. And they had to have made a ton of money, because I just saw transaction after transaction after transaction. I don't know how many of those things you have to sell to make money, because it can't be expensive. $5 a little giblet, maybe. I don't know. That's a lot of transactions, but that's one thing to note is like, you've got to come with something other than black and white t-shirts. Bring those, but also while you're out hunting, there's a lot of things to make money on. We had a furniture, Maribella's touch was there, and that stuff. It's not going to sell at a ThriftCon, but I guarantee she gets calls. She sold a lot of artwork, and
I don't know why it doesn't. She's like, yeah, I didn't sell any furniture, and I don't know why. I still might buy a piece from her.
Yeah, I hit her up yesterday to buy some chairs. So just being there and having her stuff in front of eyes will get you sales.
She said that's the first time she sold in like 10 years too, and all that stuff was just sitting, and that in the future she could do like financing, like at the like at ThriftCon, she could just like be like, oh, you don't need to pay all of it right now.
Because that furniture is worth a lot more than she was selling it for.
Yeah, man.
We should have taken a truck.
I know. That was my only thing is I just didn't know how to get that shit
How to get
home.
it back, yeah. But she actually ships through Greyhound and different services
I don't know if
too.
I trust
so
that. You ship me a $2,000 chair through Greyhound?
that's true.
I wouldn't even send myself.
Just put a sticker on it that says not valuable.
So I don't know.
Yeah. It might be cheap though. So we'll see. Not cheap's not always better.
Yeah.
But I loved her booth because she had stuff that I enjoy too.
Yeah,
But
no,
it's
it
different.
was
It's different
awesome.
stuff. Yeah,
she
she
gave
did
you
really
a
good.
phone.
But she gave me a payphone.
Not like a phone, but like
a payphone.
payphone.
Like we opened it up and Olivia didn't know what it was because she's never seen a phone before because she's born in this century.
She's only seen mini computers.
mini computers.
Best
She
booth
was
for
sweet,
me.
yeah.
Illusion Vintage had another great
Illusion,
one.
yeah.
They were great in Denver. He has just a solid setup. He's all t-shirts, but organized really well.
Yeah.
Organized really well. All priced. Just comes prepared. All the same hangers, things like that.
Yeah.
Things we like to see. Pagan Baby Doll, great girls vendor. Wish you guys would have done the little blow up chair 90s thing wherever. I don't know what market you guys did that at, but I understand it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
If you're traveling, I don't know where you guys, I don't think you're from Houston. But Pagan Baby Doll, always a great like women's booth. Like they have awesome stuff. They all like have a great look. They're fun. Like they killed it. Who else? Yes, Texan Folk was actually one I was going to mention. The all denim. She makes
made the
the denim flag at
right?
Roundhouse. Yeah, and she was just super nice too. Very grateful for the vending opportunity and just being there. But yeah, it crushes it. Makes a lot of like upcycled denim stuff, tote bags, things like that, and saw a lot of people walking around with her bags slung over their shoulders throughout the day. So I know she did well. Trying to think.
I like the
there's so many
stickers
other
that
ones.
vendors are putting on the floor now. Like Flight Girls had their logo printed out and they stuck it to the floor and it gives just a little bit more. I think Mania had like the Godzilla
Mania's booth was
footprint or
amazing.
whatever. Like that was a really cool
the,
display.
Yeah, just their whole backdrop. They've been killing it since several shows ago. I mean, since Houston last year, since Atlanta, like they've been doing great stuff. So Mania always comes hard with the installations. And that's kind of the bar, you know. I really want more people to do that. Build some walls, like, fuck, do something different, dude. I've been asking for 2 years. You guys haven't figured it out. No, I'm just kidding.
Some of them are going up higher, so we might have to figure out how to make it safer.
If you are going to build something, though,
you got to email us.
Email us, and also just like, please do it correctly, do it right. Like, put work into it, put research into it.
Sandbags.
Measure 3 times so you only have to cut once. Just do all the things so it's not janky, it's not unsafe, because we can't be hit with some shit like that, and neither can you know? So yeah.
Clothes are heavy.
All right. For next time, anything we want to do better for Philly, Vegas? I already said the experiential shit. Anything else?
I think as far as vendors are concerned, we can get stuff out a little bit earlier. I know we did get the vendor packet out earlier this time, but maybe we started getting emails because people were freaking out because they don't know where they're placed, if they're on a corner or in the middle, and that really depends where you want to put your racks and things. So I'm going to work harder on that, get specialty vendors wrapped up, and get more communication out clearer and faster.
Seems like people want us to announce these shows earlier, but I don't know if I like
hard,
that.
Yeah,
I Philly's August 28th. I can say that comfortably on this podcast because by the time this comes out, we'll also have announced on on Instagram and everything.
Yeah.
Vegas, I want to announce soon. I'd love to do that so people can start planning trips, especially because it is going to be it's an expensive weekend in Vegas because there's a big festival happening too. So people need to get hotels and all that shit. So we need to get that out. But then it's if I announce a show in October right now in July, by the time August and September rolls around, will you have forgot about this show that's now happening in 1 month? Because I said something about it 2 months ago. And then it's like, I got to get you excited about it to then start posting about it. Whereas if we now, this weekend we're announcing a month and a half out Philly, then we can just roll and be for a month and a half be talking about
It's
Philly.
all Philly. Yeah, I like that.
So I don't fucking know. It's tough because I know it's a thing that people travel to, and so just giving them a month and a half can kind of be hard with people with the work and life. But
Vegas is also more of a destination point too,
yeah,
where you build a vacation around it.
it's questionable.
Spend all your money.
It's a hard question.
Yeah.
There isn't a right or wrong answer. There's just pros and cons, but that's how we're operating right now. We'll probably announce Vegas a little bit earlier just because it is locked, and Philly was a last minute one. But yeah, so Philly, August 28th.
I don't have too much for next time. I think it's other than the obvious, making the show cooler. That's all there is now. Making sure that it goes smooth and that the word is out. That's all I got. I think this was one of our better shows operationally, and from where I sit, I think we did a great job. And as long as we meet or exceed that, then we're doing the right things. We just can't go backwards from what we did for this show.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so show ends. We go home. We go to have some dinner. We have cilantro, which is like some Korean barbecue taco things, and we had it delivered from across the street because we didn't know that, but it's okay. It happens. And then we go to the bar called The Flat. The place was cool, man.
Yeah,
you guys are in Houston. That's a cool vibe.
That was a fun bar. It was a great way to end the show. Everybody together, everyone going out as a team, and then you guys stayed up super late. I don't even know how, but we
were up till about 4.
It was lights out for me
Jenga.
at 2:30, I think, maybe 3. So maybe it wasn't much longer than me, but I was so tired.
We made it to full 24. Went to sleep around 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
full 24.
Yeah,
hours
we wanted to hit that 24.
I didn't have any desire to, but I mean, Jenga was actually pretty fun. So we were playing that. And then the day after, we went to Palace Social, and that's just like an arcade bowling place. We already spoke about Ken's bowling experience there.
I snapped.
And then we did the VR thing, which was mad funny.
Really super funny. If anybody thinks the VR thing, whenever you see it, might cost too much or something, it doesn't matter. You should do it. It's so weird and cool. So
it was pretty funny.
We got great videos from that, and if you guys go out and do it, be sure to have your phones ready because you're not going to be prepared for how fucking stupid your friends look. And a good kind of stupid, but it's funny, hilarious.
Yeah. And then after that, we went to the Post HTX. Which is like a giant build. It's like a market. There's little retail shops. It's like the Source in Denver or, Denver Central Market. It's like any of those things, but on steroids. It's brand new, just opened not like in the last year. And Ken and I actually toured it.
It was like October, November of last year is what they were telling us when we toured it.
Ken and I had toured it a couple years ago when they were just doing construction, and they were talking about us hosting ThriftCon there, and it's just not the layout of the space just doesn't allow for that.
Pretty difficult. Yeah.
It's we are too big for like how their space is laid out, but it was amazing to finally go back there and actually see it all set up, like with the food stalls in there and looking full, and show the team the roof. It's got a great view of Houston. So that was just a nice place to kind of end our trip. It was a very good just moment, like on the roof looking at the sky.
I think Colin probably got one of the best pictures of Houston ever up there on that roof. That shit was hard. I was like, God,
that's a great view. Yeah.
And then we ate some good food there too. Shout out to Soy Pinoy. Talked to the guy Tom, who one of the owners. He that's one of the Filipino spots in the Post, but he also has Soy Pinoy here at Zeppelin Station in Denver. And he does the Filipino spot here too. So that's like his other restaurant, but he has one in the Denver concept, Zeppelin Station, and at the Post. He was a cool guy, had some food from him. And then we went to the airport where Ken and I had got upgraded to first class, which never happened before. That's pretty tight.
There's a lot of empty seats, and they gave you the nice ones.
Yeah. We it wasn't that nice though. It was like
We were deserved.
They were deserved.
So only a 2-hour flight. It was great. Don't get me wrong. Great to be upgraded first class. Would never complain about that. But it was not like it could have happened at like a better.
I stayed awake.
flight.
I stayed awake for the whole flight on purpose to get all of my first class amenities. I got my food. I got my drinks. I got unlimited water. You know, not just that little dinky cup. They kept pouring my glass up.
Yeah, I didn't do none of that shit. I was asleep before we took off,
Yeah.
and I was asleep until we landed. So I didn't get any of it. It was only a 2-hour flight. The team, every single one of like we got on the plane first, and then everyone walking on just like all had to fucking say something to us and like make a deal about it. And
what's
Derek's
up,
like
big
filming
guys?
and Lee, and it was just like literally just pointed out that we were clearly the brokest people in first class, that we like had never been there before. It was unbelievable. It was so lame. So that was fucking funny, and you guys ruined it. So fuck you guys. And also, my armrest was like broken, like sitting up. The chair was dirty when I got there. I had to like clean crumbs off of it, and there was like residual dirt on the armrest. It was fucking kind of nasty. I'm not gonna lie. It was not the nicest first class. There wasn't even a TV.
No,
Not on that
No
flight,
TV, no TV, not even a first class. Like all it was just a big seat with more leg room. But like
That was a terrible
I'm not that
landing,
dude.
too.
I'm not that big. How tired I was, I would have fell asleep in the fucking back of a semi truck on the way to Colorado. It
was the fastest flight.
So it was cool to get upgraded. Kind of a bummer, didn't experience any of it all, and it was gross and dirty. So that's all right. That's all right. Maybe it'll happen again.
I had a good experience. I liked it.
It was okay. It was all right.
Well, that is the whole trip. I mean, Houston went really well, really well. Better than we were thinking, better than we could have hoped, better than last year, better than bad. So yeah, it went great. I'm glad that we're not sitting here talking about how something went wrong. Nothing really went wrong. We're sticking to the system and improving the existing system. And most of the stuff that people could recommend us to do, it's obviously already on our mind. We like hearing it, but it's obviously already on our mind. We're moving it forward. It's a matter of money, time, and resources, but all those come with time. So I think it went really well, and we're glad to do it, and we'll definitely be back next year.
Yeah, 100%. Philly's next.
Philly's next, and then
Is it hot in Philly this time of year?
yeah, but no, it's
not.
not at its peak. It'll be kind of cooling off. It'll be nice. You can actually spend a little bit of time outside for sure. And then all we have left for this year is to figure out what we're doing in December, and that'll be probably happening in the next few weeks, basically. We have a couple places in mind. We're trying to, kind of weigh the cost and benefit. LA wasn't our favorite. We didn't have the best experience, but it is such a big market. Should we go back? We haven't been to Miami in 2 years. There's a lot of things going around. Or do we just go to a brand new city, a smaller city where people will really like understand and appreciate this and really gravitate towards it because there's not as much going on as a New York, LA, or Miami. But rest assured, we're going somewhere for the end of the year, and that'll be our 6th. And then next year, expect a very similar schedule, whatever we land on, and hopefully we can sneak in 1, maybe 2 more in there, just depending on all the variables. But great year so far. Thank you guys so much for supporting and coming out to the shows. Thank you guys for vending and trusting us to allow you to bring everything you have in your life to a place for 8 hours to sell it. And thank you to all the service providers, to the venue. It's a great thing we got going. I love doing it, and hopefully that lasts for as long as we can. Hopefully I don't start not liking it, because we all really love it right now. So It feels good.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'm just excited for the rest of the year, trying to get these next few events going. I think Philly's gonna be great. Vegas is gonna be great. So
Whatnot is coming back on. because they changed some of their staffing and stuff, but they didn't give up on us. We didn't give up on them. They're still around. They'll have a presence in Philly and then a bigger presence in Vegas. So shout out Whatnot. Bid Stitch, shout out Bid Stitch.
Yeah, so shout out to all those boys, Drew and London and all them.
Vendu for coming in on this one.
Yeah, Vendu and Fleek, both of them as well. They actually had a small little part. You know, we sent some first little email touches and stuff out for Vendu and Fleek, but they'll be have a bigger presence in both Philly and Vegas as well. Don't know what any of those look like yet, but in the next week we will, and it should be pretty cool. So it's fun to have some of those, just those guys on the floor, and you know, it's fun for you guys because then they're all there competing with each other, and it just ends up in free shit for you. So
Say you get hooked up.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. Who can give out the best free shit?
Yeah, so it should be a good time. I'm excited.
All right, we got Thrift Pop at the end of this month too, for those of you in Denver. And that's about it. Look out for the Philly announcement. We'll be there. It'll be awesome. It'll be nice. It'll be fun. Philly's cool. Get some cheesesteaks. Get some good pizza. They got good pizza in Philly too. Don't sleep.
We're going to Angelo's for sure. I'm going to try to get an interview with the fucking the head Angelo.
Angelique.
Angelina. Yeah.
All right, cool. I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.